Hello, I'm Bob Weir with another interview of People in the News in North Texas. My guest today is Judge Bert Richardson, who is running for the Republican nomination to re-election as judge of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 3, in the March 3rd Republican primary. Thanks for being here, Judge Richardson.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
If you would, please begin by telling our viewers something about your background.
I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I was raised in a military family. My father was an Air Force fighter pilot. By the time I was 20, I'd lived in 3 countries for half my life. I attended Brigham Young University, served a 2-year mission for my church in Argentina. And when I returned, I graduated from BYU and I went to law school in San Antonio, St. Mary's University. While I was working there, right before I started school, I got married. I've been married for 35 years. I have one son who's a probation officer in Bexar County. My wife is a retired teacher and school administrator, and I worked in the DA's office. After I worked in the DA's office for several years, I was hired as an assistant U.S. attorney. While I was an assistant U.S. attorney, Governor Bush appointed me to the bench in Bexar County. And I served in Bexar County for 10 years, and then in 2009 I became a visiting judge in the state and worked in over 50 counties and was elected to the Court of Criminal Appeals in 2014.
So basically you have no experience in the justice system.
Just a little bit. I'm board certified in criminal law.
All right, for informational purposes, you can tell our viewers, please, what types of cases are handled by the Court of Criminal Appeals?
Sure. The Court of Criminal Appeals is the criminal Supreme Court of Texas. They handle 3 types of cases. They review all death penalty cases from across the state. Those cases come to our court first. I've been involved in over 50 of those. The second type of cases, they review appeals that come from intermediate appellate courts. We get hundreds of those a year, and those are discretionary on whether we review those. We have to review the death penalty cases. And the third type of case is a fancy Latin term, a post-conviction writ of habeas corpus, which is simply a pleading that somebody who has lost their appeal, they're sitting in prison, or they have a conviction, and they believe that the conviction should be undone or that they are actually innocent. That compromises about 8,000 to 10,000 cases we get every year, and we're the busiest appellate court in the country.
Where is the court located?
Austin.
In Austin.
On the Capitol grounds in the Supreme Court building.
Now, how many judges are on the Court of Appeals?
9.
Nine judges.
It's modeled just after the U.S. Supreme Court. 9 judges on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals and 9 judges on the Texas Supreme Court.
And is there a Chief Justice?
In our court, it's called the presiding judge.
Presiding judge.
And then in the Texas Supreme Court, it's a Chief Justice.
Right. And what's the length of the term in office?
6 years.
Okay, so every 6 years you would be running again. Is the Supreme Court of the United States the only appeal left after the Criminal Court of Appeals in Texas?
Most of the time. Sometimes they can take it into another level of a federal court, but usually from our court it goes to the Supreme Court.
So somebody goes up the ladder. How many courts can a defendant appeal to after conviction in a local court, for example?
Depending on the type of case, if they're convicted in a local court, whether it's a JP court, a county court, or a district court, their appeal goes to one of 14 intermediate appellate courts in the state. And those are geographically located, like the Fort Worth Court of Appeals or Dallas. And then from there, it may go to our court. That's it. There's just 2 levels of appellate courts.
Yeah, and once the court has made a judgment at the Court of Appeals, is that final?
The intermediate appellate court, not necessarily. At our court, it normally is final. Yes.
Okay, and what are the qualifications to be on that court?
You have to be a lawyer for 10 years. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yes. We would hope that the candidates who are running for those positions we're getting them have more experience than just being a lawyer for 10 years. Yeah. But that's the only legal requirement.
Yeah, like they might have some other judgeship experience.
Correct.
For example. Yes. Yeah.
Well, let me just back up. At the local level, at the district court level, it's 5 years. At the appellate court level, it's 10 years.
10 years. All right. What type of campaigning are you doing? Now you're from San Antonio, right? So you're crisscrossing a lot of territory.
I am. Yeah. More than I want. Yeah. You know, we call our campaign for our court kind of the Walmart of the campaign system. Our funds are limited, so there's really two types of ways to do it. We do a lot of social media advertising through Facebook, Instagram, however we can do that, YouTube. And then the second way is across the state in large areas like Denton, Dallas, Houston, they have groups that endorse after they have interviewed you and vetted you. And I reach out to every single one of those groups that does that. I think that's the most effective.
Are you not going door to door all throughout the whole state?
It's a big no. It's too many doors. It's 4 million, millions of voters.
You have a lot of doubles,
No.
crisscross the state. All right, so let's talk about the campaign forums. There's one tonight at Robeson Ranch,
yes,
right? And you're going to be at that one.
Yes.
And there's another one coming up at the Flower Mound Area Republican Club Forum at the Bridlewood Clubhouse here in town, in Flower Mound. And will you come back for that?
I'll come back for that.
Oh, you are a traveling man.
Unfortunately, I have relatives that live in Flower Mound. I call it my north headquarters for my campaign. So
that's right. All right. Well, I want to mention that you have a campaign website. It's www.electjudgerichardson.com. And now we're coming to a close. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I'm qualified for this position. Of the 3 types of cases we handle, I've been involved at the prosecution level as a trial judge and as appellate judge in over 50 death penalty cases. I've done hundreds of appeals, and I've had the pleasure of participating in 8 actual innocence cases. Those are cases that we have reviewed in detail, issued opinions, and found that individuals who were locked up perhaps for decades did not commit the crime, and we found them actually innocent and they were released.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, that, you know, nobody wants to see an innocent person do time. Well, all right. I want to then just thank you, Judge Richardson, for being here, and it's a pleasure meeting you. And
Very so.
Good luck in the election.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.